Imagine standing in front of a mirror for the very first time. There you are, your eyes blinking back at you, your movements reflected perfectly, your every gesture mirrored in flawless synchronization. Now imagine that same moment, but not as a human being, as a chimpanzee. What would that reflection mean to you? Would you recognize it as yourself, or believe it to be another creature staring back? In the early 1970s, psychologist Gordon Gallup Jr. asked this very question in an experiment that would forever alter our understanding of intelligence and self-awareness. His idea was beautifully simple. Place a mirror before a chimpanzee and observe what happens. What began as an act of curiosity became one of the most important psychological discoveries in modern science, the mirror self-recognition test. At first, the chimpanzees reacted exactly as one might expect. They displayed aggression, curiosity, even confusion. They gestured, postured, and made vocal calls at the reflection, as if confronting a stranger. But then, after days of exposure, something changed. The fear and aggression faded. The curiosity remained. Soon, the chimps began to act differently. They started inspecting themselves. They would move closer to the mirror, turning their heads, opening their mouths, and studying body parts they could never see before. Their reflection was no longer another chimp. It had become a two-lan extension of their perception. Then came the decisive moment. Gallup marked each chimpanzee with a small, red, odorless dye while it was under anesthesia. The mark was placed somewhere the chimp could not see directly, such as above the eyebrow or behind the ear. When the mirror was later returned, something astonishing happened. Instead of touching the image in the mirror, the chimpanzees reached for their own faces. They stared, touched, and examined the red mark on their own bodies. They seemed to understand that the image before them was not another being, was themselves. That moment, that simple act of touching a red mark, was revolutionary. It revealed that chimpanzees possess a kind of self-awareness, a recognition of the self that was once thought to be uniquely human. It suggested that these beings, our evolutionary cousins, may have a mental mirror as well, a capacity to think, to know, and perhaps to feel I am me. This discovery rippled far beyond the laboratory. It challenged the very boundary between human and animal. If a chimpanzee could recognize itself, what did that mean for the nature of consciousness? What did it mean for morality, empathy, or our treatment of other species? For centuries, philosophers had debated what separates humans from animals: reasoning, emotion, or Gallup's chimps had just erased one of those lines. Over time, the mirror test became a symbol of self-recognition across the animal kingdom. It was applied to dolphins, elephants, magpies, and even children. Human infants typically pass the mirror test around 18 to 24 months of age, the point when they first realize that the reflection in the glass is me. To find that chimpanzees also reached this level of awareness suggested that the roots of consciousness may run much deeper than we thought. But the story is not so simple. Not all chimpanzees pass the mirror test. Some ignore the mark entirely. Others fail to connect the reflection with themselves. Does this mean those individuals lack, or does it mean that the mirror test measures only one form of self-recognition, one that depends on vision and familiarity with reflective surfaces? For animals that rely more on smell or sound, perhaps self-awareness takes a very different form. As the years went on, scientists refined the experiment. They discovered that exposure time, social experience, and even the mirror's position could influence results. Chimps, given handheld mirrors, behaved differently from those shown large, mounted mirrors. In some cases, Chimps used mirrors not just for self-recognition but for practical purposes, examining their teeth, inspecting wounds, or checking marks on their bodies. They had learned to use reflection as a tool. Still, deeper philosophical questions remain. What does self-recognition really mean? Is it a sign of consciousness, or merely an awareness of bodily control? When a chimp reaches for that red mark, is it thinking, "That is me"? Or is it simply responding to movement correlation between itself and the mirror image? These questions reveal how elusive and profound the concept of self truly is. Beyond the laboratory, the implications became ethical as well. If chimpanzees are capable of self-recognition, should they not be afforded a higher level of moral consideration? Should captivity and experimentation on such beings be re-examined? The mirror, once just a tool of observation, became a moral mirror to forcing humanity to confront its reflection in the eyes of its evolutionary kin. Modern neuroscience has since joined the discussion. Brain imaging reveals that chimpanzees who pass the mirror test show greater development in regions associated with social cognition and self-processing regions, not unlike those active in the human brain during introspection. This suggests that the roots of self-awareness might lie in the evolution of social intelligence. To know oneself, perhaps, one must first understand others. The mirror experiment continues to inspire. It stands as a bridge between science and philosophy, between observation and introspection. The image of a chimpanzee touching a red mark on its forehead remains one of the most hauntingly beautiful moments in scientific history. It captures, in a single gesture, the possibility that we are not alone in the experience of self. Somewhere behind those deep, searching eyes, another being may be asking the same question we ask ourselves: who am I? So, the next time you look into a mirror, remember that somewhere in a research enclosure decades ago, a chimpanzee did the same, and, for a fleeting moment, the distance between species vanished. Two minds, separated by millions of years of evolution, shared one simple, timeless act: recognition.